You know, there sure are a lot of tabletop miniature games. From Games Workshop's famous Warhammer 40k to even Age of Sigmar, to the one and only Star Wars X-Wing, and even all the other Star Wars games being Armada and Legion, and then you got Bow Action, you got Victory at Seas, you got Blood Red Skies, you got Battletech. I mean, what else is out there? I mean, there's Kings of War, there's Team Yankee, there's Flames of War. I think there's Gaslight, which you can take Matchbox cars and play with them. I mean, whew, there are a lot of games out there. You know, that's the problem. Is getting into this hobby is, what game is for me? What game do I choose to play? Do I play one game and then rabbit hole myself down the rest of the games? Do I stay with one game for a couple years and then get into another game? A lot of questions about really the hobby, and well, I had those questions and I had those problems. When I started out, I got into Warhammer 40k right out of college. But as I explored the hobby, I kind of found out with Star Wars X-Wing. Star Wars was a beloved property of mine. I do not believe much in the Disney sequels, but the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy are my favorites. Not mentioning I love the Star Wars The Clone Wars series. But yeah, I got into Star Wars X-Wing pretty soon after that. And let's just say it was a snowball rolling down a hill. I've got Star Wars Armada, I got Star Wars Legion, I got Battletech, I got Marvel Crisis Protocol, I got Victory at Seas, I got Bow Action, I have Blood Red Skies, I have Team Yankee. I mean, over here I have all my Warhammer 40k stuff. I mean, I have 40k stuff over here with Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. I mean, I just have all this stuff. Because I fell down a rabbit hole pretty fast. And that is the one thing. I mean, heck, fall down the rabbit hole on figuring out your paints. Fall down a rabbit hole figuring out your brushes. Fall down a rabbit hole of wet palettes or dry palettes. Which wet palette's the best? Fall down the rabbit hole of airbrushes, aerosol cans. You know, all the different techniques of blending your paints together. It's a massive hobby. And there is no shortage of people on YouTube or on the internet, period, who are really exploring this hobby. But it's a daunting task to try to figure out where to go in the hobby, what to pick up, where to start. And that's what I want to do here in this series. This series, Hobby Time, is going to explore some tips, some tricks, some methods for you to get into this hobby without throwing yourself into the rabbit hole and then snowballing yourself down a mountain, much like I did. So this series is going to help you with that. Again, if you want any explanations or tips or tricks, leave them down in the comments. I will read them and do videos just like this. So let's start out with episode 1. All right, folks, welcome. Episode 1 of Hobby Time. And episode 1's an important one. It's not terrain. It's not mats, it's not paints, it's not brushes, it's the game. Self-explanatory. The first thing I need to do to even get on the tabletop is I have to pick out a game. But that can be a little daunting. You see, not all games are the same. For instance, Star Wars X-Wing is already pre-painted models. So, I mean, you don't have to paint any models. All you have to do is grab a little one of the starter sets, get all the little tokens and everything, and you're good to go. But what about Warhammer 40k? Well, that one you have to clip guys off sprues and glue them together, scrape mold lines and get them prepared, and then prime and paint. Well, Battletech's the same way, but the Battletech models already come assembled. You just have to scrape the mold lines you see, and then, I mean, you still gotta prime them, you still gotta paint them. I mean, hey, you can play with your gray plastic all you want. Some people are gonna look at you kind of weird though. But nothing wrong with playing with gray plastic. Nothing wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's still daunting. I mean, how many of sci-fi games are out there? How many realistic games are out there? How many fantasy games are out there? How many weird war games are out there? It's daunting figuring out where you want to begin. What game do you want to start with and getting that game on the tabletop? And I think it's important to understand, what genre of game do you like? In my opinion, I would think there would be 3 genres. Your sci-fi genre, which is your space odysseys, your like weird war era stuff, your like cowboys who suddenly fighting aliens with laser guns. or anything like that. And then you have your fantasy, which are your dwarves, your elves, your knights in shining armor, you know, your magic, boogity boogity, like Age of Sigmar, Kings of War, for instance. And then you have your realistic games that present themselves within the realistic time periods of war or using realistic types of units. For instance, you have Hail Caesar, which is more of the ancient era, like Vikings and Crusaders. And then you, of course, will have like the Spartans, you have the Romans, you got the Greeks. So basically you're in an era of the early era of warfare. And then you get into Black Powder, which is Napoleonic. And then you can have the Seas one where you shoot with like pirate ships and stuff like that. And then you can also get into the Civil War era. There's also Pike and Shoot, which is about the era of pike and shoot weaponry. And then, of course, after that, you can get into the realistic eras of World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, with like bolt action, Victory at Seas, Blood Red Skies, Flames of War. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things. I mean, even in sci-fi, you have all the Star Wars games, you have Marvel Crisis Protocol, you have Warhammer 40K, and you have a lot of other smaller companies out there also do sci-fi. But then you also have other games that I wouldn't really fit under there, like Gaslight, which is taking Matchbox cars and playing them with a rule book. So yeah, there's just a lot of games out there. And really, it just matters on your genre. If you're someone who likes sci-fi, then you're going to want to go into a sci-fi tabletop game. If you're someone who likes fantasy, you want to go to the fantasy section. Again, if you're someone who's real into history, you might want to go realistic. But yeah, it all really just matters what type of genre you really like. So after you've picked your genre, find the games in that genre. So for example, you're into sci-fi. Well, there's lots of sci-fi games. Do you like mech combat? Then Battletech probably may be for you. Do you like Space Marines killing bugs and mummy robots? Then Warhammer 40K probably might intrigue you. Maybe you're a fan of Star Wars. Well, you can go into Shatterpoint, you can go into X-Wing, you can go into Armada, you can go into Legion. I mean, and there's other games out there that I really all don't know, but that's where you're just going to have to find what's in that genre. I would probably put like Marvel Crisis Protocol even in that genre because I really think Marvel has a lot of sci-fi elements to it, so I put it under the sci-fi section. But yeah, you just kind of have to figure out what games are under those genres and just check them out. So once, of course, you pick the game, like say Star Wars X-Wing, I think the next best thing to do is either find a local scene that plays the game, see if you have friends who play the game, or check out YouTube video battle reports. I would highly recommend if you have locals or friends to go there. Because in my opinion, watching a YouTube video is very interesting. Anyone can watch a YouTube video and be interested in the game. It doesn't mean you're going to be interested fully in the mechanics of the game. You can watch people roll dice all day on videos. The problem is those videos are edited, much like my battle reports. You don't see all the nuanced movements. You don't see all the little nuanced things that the rules dictate. You just see the good rolling dice and the damage taking and the removing of the models and the shootings. You don't see all the little other things that go with the game. So if you have friends or locals where you can actually see the game being played, or if you have friends, even better, where you can have them help you teach the game so you can understand the mechanics. But going to your locals, maybe there's someone there who will help you learn the game, someone who will play with you, someone who will teach you the rules. But again, if you don't have any of that, YouTube videos can still do that. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there that are about how to play, my thoughts. Maybe you want to just watch some review videos to figure out whether or not you really think that game is going to be good. Heck, even some of these games come with free rules on the mechanics. For instance, 40K just turned their rules free. I don't know how long that's lasting, but yay. All of Atomic Mass's games have all their rules, all their complex rules for free on their website. So I mean, heck, if you find, say, a thrift store or something like that that may have one of the rule books for one of the games you're interested in, go see if they have it. Buy it. Check it out. I mean, you're not going to pay full price for it because you didn't buy the box set it might come out of. And again, a thrift store or even a half-price bookstore or a bookstore period who might have the books for you because someone sold it to them. So yeah, it really does matter kind of just checking the game out. In my opinion, I think I would have really loved to have a local scene or friends who played the game so I could really see how they're played and actually interact with them myself before I really got into a lot of the hobby games I own. Instead, I kind of watched YouTube videos and got addicted to them. Yay. But yeah, I mean, lots of places to check out. So after you figured out your genre, you figured out all the games, and you checked some out, now what do? Well, clearly you're ready to buy your game. And that's where you're going to probably fall into a stepping. Maybe start falling into the first step of falling down the hill and then into the rabbit hole. Buying more models than you need. Look, most of these games all come with a starter kit. For instance, this is the starter kit for Star Wars X-Wing. This is the starter kit for Warhammer 40K's Leviathan. Now, there's going to be smaller starter kits, so you don't have to worry about this one. There are starter kits for Bolt Action. There are starter kits for Marvel Crisis Protocol. There are starter kits for BattleTech and for a multitude of other the games I own. What's really nice about these is that they're an easy way to get started in the game. They come with a few models, the rule book, usually most of the time a condensed rule book, but come with a rule book nonetheless to help you learn the rules and gives you everything else you just need to play the game. A lot of time they give you free dice and all of that, and they just get you right into the game, which is what you want to do. Now, when getting into a game, you just want to get the starter set, period. You don't want to immediately say, oh man, BattleTech is really cool. I think I'm really going to enjoy the game. I'm going to get the starter set for this and the starter set for that and the starter set for this, and then I'm going to get all these boxes of models, and then 3 months later you haven't even done anything on BattleTech because maybe you played like 2 games of it and you said, wow, this is horrible, I don't like it. And what you just wasted your money on all this stuff that you're never going to use. I guess you could sell it on eBay. You may never make your money back on it, but yeah, well. So yeah, that's what the problem is. You really need to just get the starter set, work through the starter set, and get some games. Now, yes, one problem in that consequence is if it's not a starter set like Star Wars X-Wing that already come with pre-painted models, you might have to paint your models, but I don't really think so. If you just got a couple friends and you're just going to play with your friends, then I see no reason why you can't just play with the plastic. You can't play with your unpainted models. BattleTech is pretty nice because they already have the models fully ready to go. All you'd have to do is just put them on a board, go. Now with like Warhammer 40K and some other games, you'd have to assemble the models. But I mean, you can probably still take out the bases, probably put like a little piece of tape on the base and then move them around, and congratulations, you can still play the game. So there's lots of ways to do it, but like I said, don't jump immediately into, once you decide your game, to immediately just, oh, I don't know, picking up, $100 worth of stuff for the game, and then or even hell, 1 week later, you're suddenly bored with the game because suddenly it's not good for you, and you're like, oh man, what do I do with all this stuff I bought? Well, you're out of the money, first of all, so yeah. So that's really all the steps of really getting into it. It's really just, you got to figure out your genre that you like. You got to figure out the games in the genre. You got to check out the games that you may have an interest in. And then you want to see those games in action, play those games if you can, and then pick up a starter set and play some games with the starter set. Once you feel comfortable with the starter set and you feel you're really going to enjoy the game, that's when you can start picking up models, start thinking about color schemes, start thinking about how to expand where you're started. And of course, we will be going that into episode 2 of expanding your game. Here's an example to really help get my point across. Let's say Joe has been really interested in the tabletop. He's seen some YouTube videos of battle reports. Maybe he's seen maybe he goes to a local scene where he plays like card games and stuff, but he's seen all these people rolling up dice, or maybe he's just seen some displays on the thing. He's very interested in Marvel. So he's very interested in the Marvel universe and all of that. Well, he's seen a couple people play this Marvel tabletop game with all these famous Marvel characters like Dr. Octopus and the Iron Man and Black Widow and Captain America and Thanos and all these major characters that exist in the comic book. Well, maybe he's just so interested in it, he wants to try it out. Well, he's going to go online. Let's say he comes home, he goes online and starts doing some research on the game. He watches people play some battle reports with it. Maybe he sees a couple of people reviewing the game. Maybe he finds a how to play section so he can understand the game mechanics. He might stumble onto a Max Games website where he finds the free rule PDF where he can read through the rules and kind of understand the game. Well, thanks to that local scene, he's going to be able to go there and maybe he can ask some people there to help him teach the game. Or maybe the local store owner will help him teach a game. But what if he doesn't have that local scene, but he's still a Marvel fan and he stumbled onto, say, some battle reports of Marvel Crisis Protocol from YouTube? Well, if he doesn't have anyone to really play with, maybe he can grab some friends. Maybe they can all have some interest in the game. So you know what you do? He buys the starter set. Yes, the Marvel Crisis Protocol starter set. Comes with 2 armies, with 10 whole characters, which, even better for you individually, is that you can use those 10 characters to immediately go into stores and start playing in store games as well. Are they all good? Probably not, but at least you can immediately get into the store games as well. So anyways, he buys the kit, he opens it up. Of course, the models in there are unpainted and unassembled, so maybe he doesn't really want to spend all his time assembling, he just wants to start playing. Well, you read the base sizes. Okay, so this size base is for Captain America. This size base is for Ultron. Okay, we'll just put some tape on these bases and we'll start playing the game. So we start having fun and playing the game and trying it out. Or maybe he wants to just assemble the models, stick them on their bases, and then play them with gray. That's perfectly fine as well. So he plays the game with his friends and say he really likes the game. Then congratulations. Let's move on. But that's where you get into your caveat. You've now piqued your interest in the tabletop. Now you want to see, well, what other games are out there? What other games aren't there? Oh, I went to this Atomic Mass game website. I see they have all these other Star Wars games that look really cool. Stop. Stop. You're going to throw yourself down a rabbit hole and lose some money. Unfortunately. Maybe you're really a fan of Star Wars. You really want to try X-Wing. Go right ahead. Get that starter set too. But you might want to just wait. Wait a while. Let the interest seep into you. Make sure you're really interested in the game you have right now before you jump into, say, 2 months later you're jumping into another game, and then 2 months later you're jumping into another game. All you're going to do is just you're going to burn your money like that. And I have done it as well. And you may have all these games that you may never play, or maybe never even open up their starter kits. Or you just bought it, you shove it into a box, into the corner of your closet, and suddenly when you're rummaging through your closet, oh right, I bought this. Why did I buy this? And then you may or may not be able to sell it at the price you bought it for. So you lost some money. So that's what I'm saying. So what is the moral of that? Don't fall for the trap of going overboard into the miniature games. Pick a game, stay with it for a couple months, expand the game that you own, so taking some time to buy some other models to expand it. If you do get bored of the game, then that's a good time to search out another game. Maybe you want to take a break and work on some models so you have new models. Congratulations, that's great. Work on some new models, add some new flavor to the game. Maybe you played the starter set for so much, now you're just bored of these characters. Then buy some new characters. Paint some new dudes. Don't immediately just jump into the next major game, because if you're not interested in that one too after only a couple months, you're going to get bored. Again, there's a reason why they sell expansion sets. They sell new characters, new models. It's to keep you continually playing the game. And that is important. But say 6 months down the line, you finally got bored of Marvel Crisis Protocol, or you want to take just a small break. Maybe you've seen Star Wars X-Wing played quiet a little bit, and you want to try that. Then get the starter set, try it out, and move forward. But now the problem is you might be asking yourself, but Tyler, what happens if I buy the starter set and I just don't like the game? I mean, I played a few games and I'm like, oh, this game sucks. I'm out of the money. Well, at least you're out of the money on a starter set and not out of the money buying fully into the game. Folks, I'm not here to teach you how to save your money. That's on you. But I am teaching you how to save a lot your money in this hobby. Because 40K is almost going to cost you 40K. Battletech can sink your money away. All these games can sink your money away. And then, oh man, look at me. Yeah, spending my money all over this plastic. And this paint and these brushes. It's a rabbit hole. And it's gonna sink your money. But yeah, that's really where it is. It's like, just take some time, play the game you bought, buy a new starter set. If you don't like the game, then all you're out of is a starter set. But hey, you have a starter set, which means that at any point in time, you can always return to that starter set, try it out, or maybe you have friends who want to try it out, so you give it to them to try it out. You're just out of the money, but at least you saved the money of not picking up a bunch of models for a game you haven't even tried out yet, that you may or may not like, and then you're really gonna hurt yourself because now you're out entirely on the money you spent on the models, on all the packaging, on everything. But yes, I did hope this first episode helped you get ready. Again, remember, pick your genre, find the games in your genre, research, see if you have friends, go to locals and all that. Pick up a starter set and play with the starter set for a good little while to feel comfortable with the rules and all of that. After that, if you feel bored and stale and you want to get more into the game, congratulations, just go right ahead. Get more models. Pick up more expansion sets. Bring in more people. And have fun. In the end, if you're not having fun with the game that you picked out, you're not going to have fun, period. If you don't like the concept of the rules, if you don't even like the genre, if you don't like the idea, like for instance, realistic games, real world games, like Black Powder, Bolt Action, Blood Red Skies, Victory X Seas, Flames of War. If you don't like World War II, or medieval era, or Roman era, or Napoleonic, or Civil War, you don't like all this stuff because it ain't flashy, because this is all real world models, so they're based on real world soldiers or technology or anything like that, so it's not going to be flashy. So I mean, you may never find an interest in it. Then don't pick up a game in the realistic sector, because you're just going to find boredom in it, because, well, while you're working on the models, you're going to say, well, I don't like this isn't flashy. If you're not really a fan of sci-fi madness of spaceships and laser guns and all this, then don't go to sci-fi games like 40K, like X-Wing, Marvel, and all that stuff, or BattleTech. If you're not even into wizards and elves and like D&D stuff, then you're not going to like going into fantasy. So don't go to a genre you don't like. Second off, don't pick up a game that you may not like. For instance, Kings of War, if you watch a bunch of reviews or some battle reports, but you're on the hesitant, like, it looks fun, but don't pick it up then. If it doesn't pique your interest, don't pick it up. Don't pay the money to pick it up. Again, maybe you've now piqued your interest and you want to try it out. Maybe you find someone at a local scene or a friend's or someone like that who has it, and maybe you try it out. Heck, there's Adepticon. Maybe you'll wait until Adepticon to go do a demo game, or maybe Gen Con, for instance. Maybe you can go find and talk with the people who built the game. See what they can say about it. Sure, those only come about once a year, but maybe you just have the interest, but you're not fully invested yet. Maybe you can talk up a conversation with some people online who've played the game. Again, if you play it and suddenly you're like, oh, well, now seeing it in action and now playing the game, I don't think I like it, but then don't buy it. If you have any uncertainty in this game, it's better just to save your money. Save it for something else. Save it for a game that's coming down the line. Save it for car payments, for your house payment, for your bills, for your credit card bills. Because there's no reason for you to pick up a game if you're going to go, maybe, because all you did was you just threw your money away. You just threw it away. It'd be better to throw it in the trash can, tie up the trash bag, and toss it into the dumpster. That's what you did with your money. You want to feel confident you're going to like the game you pick up. You want to feel confident that your purchase, you can then be able to purchase more stuff on it. So that's what I'm just saying. If you follow this first thing of really doing your research, really trying games out, really seeing how they're played, then I see no reason why, after all of that, you pick up a starter set, you play it, and then if you really enjoy the game and the rules and you play with some friends, you really understand, then expand. Go crazy in it. Don't go crazy, but do expand is maybe buy a couple new fighters, buy a couple new models. Maybe you want to try a new paint scheme, so buy a couple new paints to try out. Then just have fun with it. That's really what this game is. If you can't have fun with the game you bought, then you're not going to have fun in the hobby. The hobby is about having fun with painting cool models, with getting stuff on the tabletop, with rolling dice and just laughing with your friends. I mean, heck, just look at me and my co-host Paul. We laugh a lot when we play like Combat Storm and Blood Red Sky. We quite enjoy it and we eat off each other's banter. But again, if we didn't enjoy those games, we wouldn't be enjoying them. We would be forcibly laughing and forcibly bantering to a game we may never even have liked. But again, you're never really going to know until you try out the game. That's why we pick up starter sets. A lot of starter sets, I believe, will range between about $50 to $75, really depending on what starter set it is. So that gives you a good price point right there. Sure, it's going to be a hit to your wallet, but not a major hit to like buying like a starter set and then 3 expansion packs and you just wasted your money on the expansion packs. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you been interested in the tabletop game because of this? I would like to make out a point note about one game. Combat Storm, if you're into pseudo-realistic, I guess, Combat Storm's not actually a bad game to pick up. If you're looking to like try out a game in the tabletop space that has some very similar rules to how a lot of games like to play each other, like how you roll, how you determine line of sight, then that's not a bad game to get. Because all you need to do is you can get the PDF and some terrain. And we will talk about terrain in a later episode because all the terrain you see in Battle Report people, those people buy it and they store it, but if it's your first game, you don't need to buy all that terrain. You can easily just play with stuff in your house. And Army Men make a lot of sense with that. So I mean, in Combat Storm, all you have to do is buy the PDF. You get all this terrain included with it. It's papercraft, so you might want to print it out at like a UPS store and some nice card stock. But I mean, you didn't really have to even use that. And all you need is some Army Men. You know how much Army Men are? Folks, just go look on eBay. You can find an entire lot for people selling them like for $5 if they want it out of their house. It's worthless plastic. So yes, I am plugging in a game that me and my co-host really enjoy, but I think it's a great game to play in this hobby because it's simplistic and you don't have to paint models, and the models that you come with are plastic Army Men that you probably have at your grandma's house, that you might find at like a thrift store, you might find at the Dollar Tree. It's not an expensive hobby. But yes, that's a great game to try out actually, but again, if you're not into that historical looking pseudo like weapons like AK-47s and M16s and tanks that are, you know, more or less realistic to what real tanks are today, then you're probably not going to like that. Then like I said, go down the path, figure out what you like. But again, I'm just going to plug Combat Storm. If you're looking for a good game to get immediately onto the tabletop, that's a pretty cheap game because all you have to do is you just got to buy the rule set. You get a bunch of terrain with it too that you can print endlessly because you already bought this terrain pack that comes with the rules. I think there's just a rule pack as well. So you can just buy the rules separately, but I bought the terrain pack with it for my own personal purposes. But I mean, yeah, and then just buy Army Men off eBay for $5. Then you're ready to go. Throw it on the table, understand it? Go. So let me know down in the comments. Are you a subscriber or viewer? Have you been interested in the tabletop scene thanks to my Battle Report channels or other channels out there, but are a little confused about how to get in? I hope, let me know that in the comments. Also let me know, do you like any games that are in each genre? What about fantasy, sci-fi, or realistic? Let me know those games down in the comments. I might check them out. Also, while you're down there, let me know any other topics you want this series to explore. I will be exploring paints and paint brushes and holders and maybe some display stuff. And maybe I'll even explore how to clip on off sprues, how to clean mold lines, all of that stuff. Maybe we'll even explore some of the hobby games I think that are really good. Maybe we'll explore like airbrushing and airbrushes. So let me know all of that in the comments, what you kind of want me to explore. We will explore mats, we will explore terrain, we will explore like the table area as well because those are very important. But those will be later in the start. As of right now, you just have to find the game you want to play. You can't think about terrain and mats and all of that where you're going to play on the table or that. You can't think of all of that yet until you have a game you want to play. So if you do want some recommendations of games like Combat Storm that maybe you're interested in realistic or sci-fi or fantasy, ask those as well. I'll give you some of my recommendations of what I have seen and what I have played and what I've read as well. I'll let you all know that. And if you want to see more of this series, you got to make sure to subscribe. You got to make sure to ring the bell. You got to make sure to like the video. It's 3 easy things. And did you know what? It's free! Yes, those are all free, and it helps me. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you here next time on Mama Dragon's Miniatures in episode 2 of Hobby Time.